The pot is empty, but soon it will not be, because today we're making Smalec. S-M-A-L-E-C. It's a Polish thing. It's lard. It's lard. And it's got some other flavors in it, and it's a comfort food. You put it on bread, eat it with pickles. It's great during the winter months. So we start out with about 5 pounds of boneless pork belly. Basically, it's bacon that has been cured or smoked. Okay? We have about 6 diced up medium onions, salt, pepper, marjoram, about a pound of bacon, garlic, and a lot of love. Here we go. All right. We're about to get underway here. I've got my 5 pounds of boneless pork belly fat, which is uncured bacon, a pound of just regular bacon, because you want that smoky flavor. I've got 4 diced up Granny Smith apples, 6 medium diced up onions, 8 cloves of garlic, 2 teaspoons of marjoram, teaspoon of pepper, and 2 teaspoons of salt. I like to use sea salt, and an immeasurable amount of love. So here we go. We're about to put it together. First, I'm going to run that pork. Normally, you'd run it through a grinder because you want to kind of fine grade it. I like it with big chunks, but I know a lot of people like it more fine. So I'm going to run it through a food processor because I don't have a food grinder right now, or a meat grinder. So we're going to put it through the food processor to grind it up a little bit. Be right back. And there is all of your meat, all ground up, and there's a piece of the original chunk to show you kind of perspective there. But there's still chunks in it, which is what I like. So a little bit of the grind, and then there's a little bit of so it's gonna make like a crackling. That's what we're gonna do. So it's time to put this on the heat. And we've got our pot here, and we're gonna put it on a medium heat and let it cook for about 10 minutes until it starts rendering fat. I know it sounds gross, but it's delicious. Now I'm still cooking, rendering that fat, but I'm finding out because it had a lot of meat, it's gonna take a little longer than 10 minutes, so we're just gonna keep rendering that. And it's coming along. You see the fat it's rendering, and so as more of the fat chunks get in there, it's gonna render too, and then the meat that's in there is gonna start crisping up. And that's when we're going to add our onions and garlic and such, with the Granny Smith apples and a marjoram at the end. But you see it's starting to, you see this starting to render. And it will keep rendering more as it cooks. So a little longer than 10 minutes, to be quite honest with me, more like a 30. Like I said, because they had a lot of meat, but it will all come out the same. So sometimes, you know, you can't really time this stuff. When it's done, it's done. As you see, as it's rendering, all that's really left are the bigger chunks of the fat. And that's what we're waiting for last. And you see the meat is starting to crisp up, or at least cook a little bit. But yeah, all the smaller bits of fat have already been rendered, and we are down to getting the bigger pieces rendered out. So, still cooking. Our pork belly fat is just about rendered. See, the liquid goes over the meat. So whatever pieces of fat are left in there, they're going to render out as we finish up. So you see the fat has risen past the meat part, which generally means it's done. So with that, we're going to add our salt and pepper. All right, we have salt. Probably need a little more salt because that meat is not bacon yet. So probably need a little more salt. Our garlic, 8 cloves or some more. All right, and then our, I say it was 6 cups of chopped onion. And we're going to reduce that heat to low, and we're going to stir this up and let it all cook down, and it will become liquidy again. And then when that's cooked down, we'll add our apples and marjoram. So the onions, all the fat, everything is cooking down. You kind of tell you're done cooking the onions because the water that's cooking off stops emitting. the steam. So pretty much those onions are as cooked as they're gonna be for this purpose. We're almost done. And look how after cooking a little bit more, the meat has reduced and gone down, and all the fat has risen over the top of it. So that means it's time to add our Granny Smith apples and our marjoram. Marjoram is a big Polish spice, especially in borscht. But it's definitely a Polish spice in this too. So let's mix this up. And we'll kind of know when it's ready. And this is what it looks like when it's just about done. The meat is crisping up a little bit. Everything is melted together. The marjoram's letting off a really nice aroma, very floral aroma, as well as the onions and the other things. I tasted it a couple times. How can't I? And I realized I need a little more salt, again, because you're not using real bacon that's already cured with a salt brine, so you need to add a little bit to that. But it's a good mixture of the salt, the pepper, the garlic, the onions, the apples, and that marjoram. Again, like I said, a very, very floral smell. You know, a little steam on the camera there. So I'm going to turn this off, let it cool down, and I'm going to jar it up. Yummy, yummy. And here is what the Smalec looks like after it cools off. It is now a creamy spread ready for usage. You put it in when it's kind of warm but not hot, and it automatically seals itself. So it's good for storage. Some people say store it in the fridge. I've had no problem storing it in my basement through the winter and pulling out a can as I need it. So that's Smalec. Subscribe to this channel or check in once in a while, and we'll keep doing more of this. Old school. Thanks for watching.